You made the decision to step down from a branch manager role into an assistant manager position to focus more on training. Can you walk us through that decision?
Okay, so this is a personal one for me,
Mhm.
and I promise I'll try not to cry, but I cry sometimes.
Mhm.
My brother was diagnosed with cancer.
Mhm.
He lived in Phoenix. We had become very close because I lost my father very early when I was 11. So
Mhm.
he was sort of kind of a dad brother. And when he passed, that was devastating.
Mhm.
Within 6 months later, I lost one of my newer agents that I
Mhm.
trained from a baby on, and he had been my trainer. And I did not, his death was very unexpected,
Mhm.
and that hit me like a ton of bricks. And then during all this time,
Mhm.
broker and teaching and everything else, I had become a caregiver for my husband
Mhm.
and for over 10 years. And when he passed, it was like, what do I do now?
Mhm.
What do I do now? And I'm honest. You can edit this out if you want,
Mhm.
but I couldn't keep taking the income I was getting for the job I was doing because I felt I wasn't doing enough.
Mhm.
And fortunately, I realized it, and I'm still recovering from it.
Mhm.
But I went to my boss, president of the company, and said, I can't do this anymore. I can't do the running the office,
Mhm.
the making sure of the shop making the money it needs to, hitting our goals. He said, well, what do you want to do? I said, I want to do the stuff I'm good at. I
Yeah.
want to work with agents. I want to help them grow. I
Mhm.
want the office to grow. I want the company to grow. He said, okay. I was like, yay, yay. So it has been a transition. I'm still transitioning,
Uh-huh.
but overall, it was the best decision I ever made.
Mhm.
I spent yesterday all day long working with 5 different agents,
Mhm.
just being there,
Mhm.
helping one prepare for a listing,
Mhm.
helping another one with their confidence,
Mhm.
um, telling the other one, just stop it and do it the way you should. You know? And I like that.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
enjoyed that.
Uh-huh.
And people say, don't you mind walking past that office with the glass door and going to the back of the building? I said, what office with a glass door? You know, the title doesn't mean a thing.
Yeah.
I'm still there helping people.
Mhm.
And that's what I love to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's about. What makes real estate an attractive career for beginners?
I Everybody loves to show houses.
Mhm.
They think of HGTV,
Yes.
which throw that out the window,
It
you know,
please do.
and they love people. And I
Uh-huh.
always tell people you won't for very long.
Yeah.
And you'll trust me, all houses aren't glamorous.
Mhm.
You know, sometimes you have to walk over stuff you don't want to walk over. And but I think that's the intent of 90% of the people is
Mhm.
they do love people and they want to help.
Right.
They know it's a big deal. And I think even though they hit struggles, that underlying factor of still liking to help people and the satisfaction at the closing table, that's what makes them stay.
Yeah. Yep. That's what it's all about.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. What personality traits or skills help someone succeed in this field?
Listening and learning.
Mhm.
I think and I think listening's first.
Okay.
You know, um, true story. I had an agent way back whenever I was a
Mhm.
salesperson, and my broker, because she wasn't my manager, she was a broker of record, she said, hey, take her with you. And she came back and she threw things on the table and she said, I'm never going with Luann again. That was the biggest waste of time.
Mhm.
And the broker looked at her and said, what? And she said, she never opened her mouth. And Donna looked at me and said, Luann, I said, look, they need 4 bedrooms. They have money to work with.
Uh-huh.
They have dogs. They need fences.
Mhm.
And because I didn't have to say anything, they
Yeah.
were talking to each other and
Right.
I listened.
Yeah.
And the agent that went with me said, how did you hear? Where did you get that information? I said, because I listened to what they
Yeah.
said. So I think listening is first
Mhm.
and then learning is second.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to learn. You have to accept the fact, oh, I didn't know that. I better go look that up again and get the right answer.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And listening helps you to process that.
Yeah.
That's how you're learning, yeah, by
Take
listening.
the word silent
Uh-huh.
and take the word listen. They have 2 things in common, the letters.
Uh-huh.
That's all they have in common. I can be silent all day long and not listen to a word you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is real estate a good side hustle or better as a full-time career?
It depends. It
Okay.
really does.
Uh,
Um, some people can do great.
mhm.
I've worked with a few that I see their faces in my mind,
Mhm.
and they're doing great. They're doing better than some that are full time
Mhm.
agents in their first 4 years.
Mhm.
Um, if you ask a full time agent, they'll tell you you can't be a part time agent.
Mhm.
But I think it depends on your makeup, how good you are at balancing,
Mhm.
how good you are at time management,
Mhm.
and again, just the dedication that you have.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I agree. What can students expect when they enroll in a real estate educator's course?
So it's all Zoom.
Mhm.
We tried to do both. We tried to do some in person,
Oh, you
and
guys don't offer that no more?
no.
Oh, okay.
We gave that up probably 2 years ago because
Okay.
we always had in person classes on the
Mhm.
schedule. You have to have at least 10
Mhm.
to justify paying an instructor, and we
Mhm.
could never get 10 people to enroll.
Mm.
So it was like, what's the point?
Yeah.
And when you think about it, Leah, would you rather be sitting on your couch with a computer in front of you, eating your chips, feeding your kids, or would you rather drive to Cranberry
Right, right.
or
Mhm.
whatever, have
Mhm.
to be in decent clothes and sit there like a student at a
Yeah.
table? So you enroll in the class.
Uh-huh.
There's different ways that you pay for that class, but
Mhm.
you are investing some of your own time and money.
Mhm.
Um, our school offers two options: either daytime, 9 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon, or Tuesday and Thursday evenings,
Mhm.
6 to 9:30. You get the textbook, and honestly, we start in Unit 1 and end with Unit 22.
Mhm.
1 through 12 is, I'm doing this all by memory,
Mhm.
1 through 12 is fundamentals,
Mhm.
13 through 22 is practice.
Mhm.
Practice is where most of the time, that's where the commission, the real estate commission, wants us to spend most of our time, so it's 45 hours.
Mhm.
Take a final at the end of each course, get that 75 or higher. I always tell
Mhm.
people roll 75,
Mhm.
then take your national exam and your state exam, get a 75 or higher,
Mhm.
and then you can apply for a license.
Yep.
And the big difference from when I took my classes to now is that's when you can go out and find a broker. Unless someone has sponsored you and helped finance
Mhm.
your courses, you can go out and interview. And I suggest you interview and ask them
Yeah.
tough questions.
Yeah. Now, is that open to the public? So if they're taking your classes, they can. It doesn't matter if they don't go to your brokerage that
Right,
you're working.
that's right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we probably have this last class that I sat in, um, we had probably out of 60, we had 10 that were either knew they were going to a different company
Mhm.
or hadn't made up their mind where they were going.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Um, and can you walk us through a typical class session?
We log on at 6,
Mhm.
and one of the big roles, and it's not our role, it's the real estate commission's role, we have to be able to see you from the neck up.
Mhm.
You have to be on camera.
Mhm.
And you know, we usually start with warming everybody up.
Yeah.
What'd you do over the weekend? The
Mhm.
NFL draft was
Mhm.
going on, so we
Mhm.
talked about that. We put them in breakout groups so they
Mhm.
can do little studies, and then we just start with whatever topic we're on. The first one's land and real estate. And
Mhm.
we start going through and have them highlight. I tell them that book is really their guide,
Yes.
and just write on it, highlight it, make notes, because that is what's going to make you pass or fail.
Mhm.
And then we do these flex quizzes, which are really cool. We send them a link,
Mhm.
they log in, they take the quizzes, and they immediately get their answer back, and so does the instructor.
Mhm.
So we know whether they pass or fail. And then those flex quizzes are really good study guides.
Yes.
And I always tell people, save them, print them out. So you've got fundamentals, you've got 1 through 12 quizzes. And then when you get your final and you pass the first time, and you will,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
um, print that out too.
Yeah.
And so now you've got these great study guides. Then you've got 13 through 22, same thing. And, it really is the perfect scenario to pass the first time.
Yes.
And mindset is huge.
Yeah.
We talked about the one guy that wanted to quit, and I just
Mhm.
said, "You're not allowed.
Yeah.
You can't."
Yeah.
And now he's a chairman circle person, which
Yes.
in our company is top of the top,
Mhm.
cream of the crop.
Mhm.
And he tells everybody when he sees me, he said, "She wouldn't let me quit. She
Yeah.
told me I didn't have a choice."
Yeah.
And he's top of the top now.
Yeah. And that's what we need during that time too.
Yeah.
It's yeah. It's a lot of information. Yeah, I actually have all that in my closet, all my,
Yeah.
paperwork from the classes and still reference them as well.
Well, you know
Yeah,
what? It's
yeah,
one manager from Ohio said it's like taking a drink of water from a fire hose,
yeah,
and that is what pre-license is.
yes,
It's just all this stuff gushing at you,
yeah,
and it's like, what do I remember? What don't I
yeah.
remember? Yeah,
And, also too, just as, for my thing too, what do you suggest? Do you suggest people waiting to take the test or take it right after? I
I
think right after, 'cause all of it's in your mind.
yeah. Yeah, and we have, Berkshire Hathaway
Uh-huh,
offers a cram course,
yeah,
and bless Todd Van Horn's heart, he was a principal at
mhm,
I think a middle school,
mhm,
and he has this great course. It's not samples of the questions, but it's 10 questions in each topic.
yeah,
So now you know your strength and weakness. Ethics, oh, I only got 2 right. I better go back and study
right,
ethics. Agency, I got 8 out of 8. I'm not so worried about agency.
right,
So it gives you a really good schematic of where your weakness and strengths are,
right,
you know.
yeah,
But yeah, if you can finish your second course, take that cram course, or I'm sure other companies have it, but I just know about
uh-huh,
Berkshire, and then take that exam within 2 weeks of that cram course. Because sometimes if you overstudy, you start questioning yourself.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. Now, what topics are covered in the pre-licensing course? And you mentioned some of them. Is there
Yeah.
anything else besides or some
It
major thing?
so the fundamentals is more land, um, I'm doing this by memory,
Mhm,
land, the how you own land,
mhm,
joint tenants with the right of survivorship, tenants in common, tenants in entirety, which is a married
mhm,
couple.
mhm.
I always tell people think of a candle because a lot of people you talk about divorce and they say, I'm going to take a saw and I'm going to cut the house in half because I want my half.
Yeah,
You don't own half.
mhm,
You both own 100%.
right,
So I tell people think of a marriage candle. You each have your own candle. Light it, blow it out. There you are, 100%. That's
yeah,
how much you own that house.
mhm,
So we talk about that. We talk about how it's legally transferred. That's fundamentals.
mhm,
Then practice, the easiest way to think about practice is what is real estate and what do you need to get a license? Then we go into ethics and fair housing.
mhm,
And we have really good stories to tell along that. And then we go into the employment contracts,
mhm,
whether you work for your buyer or seller and what that relationship means
yeah,
and the fiduciary duties that you have for them and confident um, obedience, loyalty, disclosure, uh, confidentiality, accountability, and reasonable care.
mhm.
Old car.
Mhm.
Had to shut my eyes on that one down. But, and
Mhm,
then once you've developed that relationship, next thing is you're going to go out and show them houses
yeah,
or you're going to list their house. And then you get a contract.
right,
So it takes you clear from getting your license to the closing of the sale.
right,
And that's practice
right.
in a nutshell.
And that math part too, I like
Oh,
that.
math's not so bad
Yeah.
though. We
I've seen
we
that a
give it
lot with
easy.
leases and all
Yeah,
that, yeah.
yeah.
Um, how long does it usually take to complete the program?
In evenings, practice is 12 weeks
Mhm,
if you take them in the evening, and fundamentals is 8,
mhm.
so
Okay,
20 weeks.
okay,
Um, in the daytime course, it's 8 weeks.
okay,
Yeah.
okay,
So,
okay.
yeah.
What are the steps to becoming a licensed real estate agent? Now, there's other stuff too that they're doing on the side besides the classes. Are
Yeah,
they?
you have to have a high school diploma
Uh-huh.
or the equivalent. You have to be 18 years or older.
Mhm,
So, and just the dedication of being there,
mhm,
doing all the quizzes,
mhm.
doing the studies,
Yeah.
and then really the real estate commission considers it the brokerage's job once they get their license to train them
Mhm.
and teach them how to promote for business, prospect, and all that.
Okay. Um, how difficult is the licensing exam?
It depends. Uh, Thank you, Jim Skinzer.
Yeah, no,
Um,
yes.
really and truly, it does.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, it's multiple choice.
Mhm.
So there's a wrong answer that you can spot right away.
Yeah.
There's a probably wrong answer that you can usually spot if you paid any attention in
Mhm.
class. Now you've got a probably right answer and the most right answer.
Mhm.
it necessarily isn't the right answer, but
Right.
it's the most right answer.
Right.
So if you go in with the right mindset
Mhm.
and you read the question and you know the answer, go with it.
Mhm.
If you don't know the answer, I'd say try that probably elimination,
Yeah.
get down to 2. And if you still don't feel 100% confident, go on to the next question because 4 questions down, you might get the answer to the one you were thinking about.
Right.
So I, again, during class, I had one girl, and thank goodness she appreciated my sense of humor because she kept telling us all she was going to fail.
Yeah.
And I mean, she would say it out loud to the
Yeah.
whole class. And I'd say, you know what? You are going to fail. And she went, what? And I said, you are. And she
Yeah.
said, why would you say that? And I said, because you already made up your
Yep. You already
mind.
made your mind.
I said, "Look at," and I named somebody else. I said, "They told you they're gonna pass."
Yeah.
And sure enough, she listened to me,
Uh-huh.
and she came back the next class and she said, "You know what, Luann? I'm not gonna fail."
Yeah.
And she didn't.
She did. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's sometimes you have to, like, smack them in the face and say, "Get it out of your head," get
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
neutral.
Like you got this.
Yeah.
And what kind of financial investment should someone expect when getting started?
It depends on the company you go to.
Okay.
There's all kind of, commission schedules out there.
Mhm.
But for my company, which is the only company I can speak to, it's between the $1,800 and $2,000 investment annually.
Mhm.
You've got errors and omissions insurance, you've got realtors dues, and the Realtors Association really does do good for you all. When we were locked down
Mhm.
in COVID, one of the things the Realtors Association did was they got unemployment for all of us. We're independent contractors,
Mhm.
statutory non-employees. That didn't exist.
Mhm.
They fought and got us unemployment insurance.
Mhm.
The other thing they did was they got Pennsylvania was the only state that did not consider real estate essential to live.
Mhm.
And we had a lot of closings that didn't
Mhm.
happen. The Realtors Association fought.
Mhm.
So, yes, it's a big investment. It's
Yeah.
anywhere from 600 to 1,000 a year,
Mhm.
but they fight for us. They do
Mhm.
a lot of good. Then there's the multi lists.
Mhm.
There's monthly fees. Every company it can go from $20 to $300. I
Yeah.
hear. I don't know. And then just business cards, stuff
Yeah.
like that. I always tell people find out what your company gives to you at no additional cost. We
Mhm.
talked about that.
Yeah.
Nothing's free, no additional cost. And, take that, factor that in. Well, this company's giving me more commission, but oh, yeah, I got to pay for my copies. I've got to pay
Mhm.
for my forms. This company's keeping some money, but they're giving me all this other stuff at no
Right.
additional cost. And as I grow and I get more money, they're still giving me all the stuff.
Yeah.
So you have to really look at it. But I would say be prepared to invest at least $1,800 a year
Okay.
without making a cent.
Okay. And what happens after someone passes the exam?
They apply for their license. They go to PALS, Pennsylvania Licensing System,
Mhm.
PALS, and they can actually apply for the license there. They upload their transcripts
Mhm.
and their testing scores, and then from there, whatever broker that they're going to work for,
Mhm.
you know, um, they go in and they apply or
Mhm.
they approve that application.
Mhm.
And you do have to have, if you have anything on your record, a
Mhm.
felony and things, you have to go through some extra steps,
Okay.
which usually takes about 6 months to happen.
Mhm.
Um, but you have to prove that you're not going to do anything bad again, so to speak. But the broker has to approve your license. Depends on when you hit your application with PALS. Sometimes it takes 2 days.
Mhm.
Sometimes it takes 3 to 4 weeks. Depends on how busy the state is.
Okay. Okay. Um, how do new agents find a brokerage to work with? Now you go out and you look for a brokerage, but what's some tips on finding that? I know
Um,
you mentioned some a little bit.
yeah, I would put top real estate companies in the area. I'd Google
Mhm.
it. I'd also Google what what companies give the best training.
Mhm.
Here's something sad is some competitors are actually sending people to our company
Mhm.
and saying, go get trained with them. Once you get trained, come back and work for us.
Mm.
I don't like that, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But also check and see how much they talk about their licensees. Do they talk about their licensees or do they talk about their company? If
Mm.
they're, our company is a big promoter of the agents.
Mhm.
We believe that without the agents, we can't make any money.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, and if we promote you and we give you all these tools,
Mhm.
you know, everybody has a tool belt these days.
Yeah.
If you have all these tools in your tool belt, then you're going to make money, and in turn, we're going to make money.
Right.
So, but ask lots of questions.
Mhm.
Google, you know, use the internet to find out what questions to ask.
Okay. All right. And what should new agents focus on in their first 90 days?
Training, 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 training.
Mhm.
Our company actually has a PTS,
Mhm.
Pathways to
Yeah.
Success, and you actually get little raises even
Mhm.
if you don't have any transactions.
Yeah.
You get a little raise when you finish
Mhm.
tier one. You get a little raise when you finish tier two,
Mhm.
which is pretty cool because you got raises for just taking
Yeah.
classes.
Yeah.
And then tier three, you do have to have three closings,
Mhm.
and and there's usually some kind of fees involved in that training. You get your fees back
Yep.
on 4, 5, and 6.
Mhm.
So, yes, you're investing in yourself
Mhm.
and it's costing you a little bit of money, but guess what? You get a refund.
Yeah.
So, how
Yep.
can you go wrong?
Yeah.
But I think is go to the office. Go to the
Yes.
office, and you know, I think most companies have a big board
Mhm.
with all the listings. See whose name's on the board and sort of hang out with them. If you don't have a mentor,
Mhm.
sort of ask, hey, can I go on an appointment with you and just watch what you do?
Mhm.
Find out who's in the office the most often. Usually their name's on the board more than other people. I think we have this false impression of we're running our own business, and you are,
Yeah.
but you're a partner.
Mhm.
You are not totally independent. You're a partner with your
Right.
brokerage, and you know. I don't know, you know, if you open a bar or a restaurant or whatever, and I'm a partner in that restaurant, I'm not going to not go there and make sure it's working right.
Right.
Well, you need to be at the office to make things sure things are working for you.
Right. Right. Building those relationships and
Yes.
everything. And floor time too. You could do
Yeah,
some
floor
floor
time's
time. Yeah.
important.
Um, what's the biggest misconception about being a real estate agent?
That you make lots of money really quick.
Mm. I
um, you know, you and I
Yeah,
talked about
yeah.
this before we started. It's a good 3 years,
Mhm.
unless you're awfully lucky and have a great sphere of influence
Yeah.
that you know how to work.
Mhm.
It's going to take you 3 years.
Mhm.
I always say the first year is training.
Mhm.
Second year is promoting,
Mhm.
and the third year is transition. Year 4, you should be looking at me going, Luann, I need to make X. And if
Mhm.
I can't, I got to get out of the business.
Mhm.
And then it's my job as management, you know, because now my title is growth consultant.
Mhm.
Between me and the manager, it's our job to help you hit that goal so that you can be here.
Mhm.
You know, the money's here.
Mhm.
You know, there's a lot of agents making over $100,000 in our industry.
Mhm.
There's a lot of agents making 15,000. Sometimes because they want to make that just to
Mhm.
supplement,
Mhm.
but sometimes because they just can't devote the time and energy.
Mhm.
It does take time. It does.
Yeah.
It's a job. It's
Yeah.
a career.
Yeah. And there's consistency too.
Yeah.
Yeah, sticking with it. How competitive is the industry right now?
Oh, really competitive.
Mhm.
I got to be polite with this one. Um, there are a lot of agents that really did think it was easy
Mhm.
or really are that expert.
Yeah.
They don't want to learn anymore
Mhm.
and they think they're right. And for the first time ever in 30 years, I'm seeing an awful lot of they did it wrong. They don't do it the right way. They
Mhm.
don't do it. And it's such a shame because I think, unfortunately, because it is a tough market right now, I think agents are forgetting what comes first.
Mhm.
And what comes first is that client. We have
Yes.
to put that client before our own interest, before whether we make a dime or not. And I don't think that's happening. I'd say, I don't think it's 60%, but I think 40% are out there more worried about their own income than
Mhm.
they are the client.
Yeah.
And that's sad.
Yeah.
That's real sad.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Now, what separates successful agents from those who struggle?
Learning and investing.
Mhm.
You have to invest. I talked about the initial couple years.
Mhm.
You know, when you talk about go in any market and see whose name's everywhere.
Mhm.
You know, see who signs up. And I can guarantee you they're investing money in websites, they're investing money in blogs,
Mhm.
they're investing in their business.
Mhm.
You know, I remember one licensee really wants to boost their income, and they probably spend about 25 to 30,000 a year. and it's paying off.
Yeah.
It's a great tax write-off,
Mhm.
but I mean, 25 to 30,000 is a lot. Now, when you're making 125 and you got to pay taxes out of
Yeah.
that, thank God for that investment,
I
right?
know, yeah, that's
Because
true.
you can do
Yeah, yeah.
tax deductions. But you got to earn and you got to learn.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah, and I heard that before, you
Yeah.
definitely have to invest in yourself. Can you talk about income expectations for beginners versus experienced agents?
You know, it really is what you put into it. Um, I'm from more rural areas,
Mhm.
so I sometimes scare people. You know, if you're in your city in Pittsburgh, you can probably expect to earn 10 to 20 your first year.
Mhm,
Out in my area, 10,000 is a lot your first year.
mhm,
So it really does depend. But, you know, a lot of people in real estate make over 200,000 a year.
mhm.
It's truly is an unlimited opportunity.
It is.
It really is. Um, you know, when I was a licensee in Fayette County 30 years ago, I made 70,000 and that was a lot of
Mhm,
money.
mhm.
But I worked hard.
Yeah,
I worked really hard. That was I think 62 transactions that year, and that was a lot of work.
yeah,
And you know, but you have agents, I know we laugh about it, we have our awards
yeah,
luncheon,
yeah,
and you'll look and this one made this much gross commission and they had 5
yeah,
transactions. And
'cause
then
it's
this
different.
one had, you know, I think of Wendy Kelly, she had like
Yeah.
182.
Uh-huh,
And I
yeah.
was like, how did she do that? Well, first of all, she has a team,
Uh-huh.
but it's like,
It depends on the area, the price of the homes and
yeah,
everything.
yeah. So it's like, it really does depend where you live.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it really does.
What advice would you give someone who is on the fence about starting?
If you really do like people and you really do like helping people, try it.
Mhm.
Give it 5 years.
Yeah,
Give it 5 years and make sure you have a good, strong support system to get you through those first 5 years
right.
because the money's not going to be instant. And just learn, learn, learn.
Mhm,
There's nothing I would do than work in real estate.
mm.
When I had that hard conversation
Mhm.
with myself, knowing that I couldn't be a manager
Right,
because I wasn't giving what I expected out of
right.
me, I thought long and hard. I won't tell you my missionary story. Short story was, yes, I will.
Yeah.
I thought for a minute, maybe I'll be a missionary. Well, in Papua New Guinea, that's what our church supports
Uh-huh.
and things, there's still somewhat, I hear rumors, a little bit of cannibalism. And it was
Oh,
like, no, no, no,
yeah.
no, nope, nope, not doing that. So, but I thought, what else can I do?
Yeah,
And it's like, I got to sell real estate. I
yeah,
got to still be in real estate.
yeah,
So, you know, it's a good industry
yeah.
and it's so rewarding.
It
I
is.
mean, there's nothing, even though I don't list and sell, there's nothing better than overhearing all the laughing and talking and
Mhm.
celebrating. And sometimes you cry with people
Yeah.
because, you know, they lost their spouse,
Mhm.
they lost a partner, and now they're giving up their home.
Right.
So sometimes it's, you cry with them too,
Right,
but
right.
it
Yeah,
really is rewarding.
yeah. It's definitely rewarding. Now, what mistakes should new agents avoid early on?
Um, don't think that the money's gonna come instantly.
Mhm,
Don't panic if you don't have money in your pocket within 6 weeks or even 90 days.
mm.
Oh, that is 6 weeks, 180 days.
Uh-huh.
You know, 6 months. If you haven't had a closing, don't think you're not gonna make it.
Okay.
You know, that first 6 months to a year is lean. After that, just keep on keeping on.
Mhm.
And, we talked about the highs and
Yeah.
lows. Even when you're busy, go out there, prospect for new business. As
Mhm.
long as you're prospecting, you know, there's different courses you can take. I don't, you know, I don't, you don't need the course to know. Spend 5 hours a week on looking for new business, regardless how busy you are.
Mhm.
Spend 5 hours a week. I don't care
Mhm.
if you have 20 listings. I don't care if you have 20 pendings. Spend 5 hours a week looking for new business.
Mhm.
Then there won't be the highs and lows that people talk about in real
Yeah,
estate.
okay. That's a good tip.
Yeah,
That's a good tip. Um, if you could restart your real estate career, what would you do differently?
be a broker a lot sooner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why?
'Cause I love information, I love
Mhm.
learning, and I really do like helping people.
Mhm.
Um, I liked being part of the Realtors Association. I liked learning. I
Mhm.
liked learning what what our industry does for people.
Yeah.
You know, pride in home ownership. It's a big deal.
Mhm.
You know, and I've watched my one of my favorite stories is $10,000 house. It was a foreclosure.
Mhm.
These people were renting and paying their rent every month,
Mhm.
and the owner wasn't paying the mortgage.
Oh.
And it was a dumpy little house, and I said, I need to I told him why I was there,
Uh-huh.
and they about cried because they found out their house was being
Yeah.
foreclosed on, and I said, "I need to go to the basement," and they said, "You can't," and I said, I have to,"
Uh-huh.
and they said, "Ma'am, there's a foot of water in our basement on the driest of days," and I was like, "Oh my goodness." They said, "It's okay, our furnace is hooked to the rafters,"
Uh,
and I'm like, "Okay."
uh-huh.
They got a personal loan because come on,
Yeah.
$10,000. And at closing, I'll never forget, and they were so cute. They said, "We did not buy this from the dollar store. We went to Seven Springs." They bought me this little globe, those hologram
Uh-huh.
things, and it had the earth, and an eagle was holding the earth. They said, "You're our eagle. You kept our life together. You
Oh.
gave us our house." It was a $10,000 house that had
Yeah.
feet of water in the basement, and
But
they
it
were
was
thrilled they
theirs.
got to stay.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
was like, I still have that little
Dang.
globe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the cool part. That's why I love real estate.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's what it's all about, those stories. That's what
Yes.
it comes down to. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, why should someone choose real estate educators over other programs?
Because I think we do a good job. We tell stories.
Mm.
We don't just teach the test.
Mhm.
There are some classes out there, there are stores, schools out there that they really teach the test, which is great.
Right.
Pass.
Yeah.
That's important. And that's our job too. We
Yeah.
want you to pass the first time. But like I talked about, taking you from where real estate licenses came from back in the 60s and 50s and where we got multi lists, clear up to the closing table, and sort of talking a little bit about every time you meet with a buyer or seller,
Mhm.
you're on a job interview.
Mhm.
If you're just teaching the test, you're not going to have those conversations.
Right.
So I think real estate educators brings a lot of bonus information that
Mhm.
you don't get with other schools.
That's true. How can viewers get started today?
Oh, call me.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, Google real estate educators.
Uh-huh.
If you have a brokerage you like, reach
Mhm.
out to the brokerage
Mhm.
and ask to speak to the office manager. If you have a favorite agent that you've worked with, if
Mhm.
you work with Leah,
Mhm.
call Leah and say, "Hey, hook me up. How
Yeah.
do I get started?"
Yeah.
There's always people out there to help. I think everybody knows a real estate agent,
Right.
usually two or three.
Yeah. That's true. Any final words for aspiring agents watching this?
um, just remember, it's all about relationships.
Mhm.
You're not selling houses; you're selling yourself.
Mhm.
Build trust, introduce yourself, get to know each other, get to like each other, and then the trust will come.
Mhm.
It really is a relationship business. It's not selling.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. True. And my podcast is Seeking Wisdom Through Real Estate. What's a piece of wisdom that you'd like to give the viewers?
Just ask questions.
Mhm.
Ask questions. Google. I hear AI is great now. If you're asking AI, ask the right questions. Don't ask what you want. And be leery of AI. Make
Mhm.
sure that you're doing, but I think that research is important. Whether you're buying a house or whether you're getting into real
Mhm.
estate, do the research.
Yeah. And how can people get a hold of you, Luann?
They can email me,
Uh-huh.
and it's easy. It's my name,
Mhm.
LOUANNKENNEY at TPR Sold, or they can call me on my cell, which is 814
Mhm.
525 4474.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Thank you, Luann.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
joining us today. Gave a wealth of knowledge today, so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. So if you have enjoyed your time with us, please like and subscribe to my channel. Also, comment on topics that you would like to learn more about. See you next week when we seek more wisdom through real estate. God bless.